Over 25 years ago, my friend and I used to play Crash Bash together in co-op mode every single weekend for months. Our goal was to get 200% completion. It was a long and difficult journey full of highs and lows, and the only reason we eventually pulled it off was the level of teamwork we'd built up together. If there was a particular minigame I wasn't very good at, my friend picked up the slack and vice versa. I couldn't have done it without him. Or could I? Can you beat Crash Bash's co-op mode alone? Let's find out. Here are the rules. But first, did you know just how glitchy this game can be? I never realised it as a kid, but this game's code is made out of spaghetti. If I ever took the time to learn coding, this game's code might actually make some sense to me. That's why I'm glad to welcome back today's video sponsor, Boot.dev. Coding can be interesting, but let's face it, learning how to code is boring. Boot.dev knows this, so when they created an online tool to help teach coding, their priority was to make it fun. Now the learning process is treated like an RPG. You earn experience points and complete side quests as you go. The price is right too. All their courses are completely free to read and watch for guests. A paid membership unlocks the fun RPG features and progress tracking. It's divided by the different coding languages, which includes Python, Go, JavaScript and more. Each course is paced perfectly so that even newbies like me can understand everything I'm being tasked with. If I keep this up, maybe I could pursue a career in back-end development, which can earn you a salary of up to $100,000 a year nowadays. I just started learning Go for the first time. It's very satisfying when it clicks, and it doesn't take long for it to start falling into place. Soon I was writing my own lines of code from memory. There's no way I ever would have retained this information if not for the way Boot.dev structure their courses. To get started, please see the link in the description or the pinned comment and use my code NG+ at checkout for 25% off your first payment. That's a saving of £155 a year. Once again, use code NG+ at checkout to save £155 a year and start your coding adventure today. Back to the rules. Rule number 1, we must beat co-op mode with just one character. This means we cannot control our second character at all. Rule number 2, we will be aiming for the maximum completion of 201%. Rule number 3, glitches are fine, just no hacking. And finally, rule number 4, once we hit 201% completion, we win! We will be playing the NTSC version of the game, which matters a lot more than you might think, and it's not just because of the superior frame rate. I'll let you know when it's relevant. There are 5 floors with several minigames on each floor. In each minigame, we can earn a trophy, a gem, a crystal, a gold relic, and a platinum relic. The only input we can make on the second controller is to select a character right at the start. After that, the second controller will be unplugged. There are several differences between the characters and how they play in certain minigames. Usually, speedrunners would opt for the bigger characters like Tony Tiger or Koala Kong, as they have the best advantage in the game overall. But I thought it would be more thematically appropriate if I played as Crash Bandicoot and my player 2 was Neo Cortex. I'm only making the run harder for myself by doing this, so consider this an extra challenge. We name our save file Bashman and get started. We'll start with the trophies as they are the easiest. All we need to do is win a minigame 3 times before our opponents to win its trophy. The first game is Crash Ball, a simple game, just don't let the balls into your own goal. If any character lets 15 balls into their goal, they are eliminated. Cortex would help us out, but his doctor told him not to operate heavy machinery. The AI in the early game is notoriously bad, but it won't stay that way for long. As for strategy, we can use a kick to knock the balls away from us. It's on a cooldown, but it's quite generous. As with all the ball games, if a character is eliminated, their side becomes a line of electricity. The balls will now bounce off of this as if it were a wall, which can make things awkward when the 2 remaining characters aren't opposite each other. We can even use Cortex to our advantage sometimes by hitting the balls into him to bounce them to the enemy. The teamwork on display is crazy here. To add context to the challenge, in the single player campaign, it's all 4 characters for themselves. In the co-op campaign, the game is the same except every minigame is 2v2 instead. Essentially, this challenge will make it a 1v2 throughout the entire game, with us being the one, of course. Also, I know I said glitches are fine, but I will try to get as far as possible before I resort to using glitches. Since we don't necessarily need Cortex to survive to win this, we earn the trophy quite easily. easily. Polar Panic is similar in that we don't need Cortex to survive in order for us to win. We just need to knock the enemies over the edge. In fact, Bandicoot characters have the advantage in Polar minigames as they can use the charge attack more often. At one point, Dingodile decided to touch the laser, which is a risk-reward type deal. You either get a power up or a power down. Dingo got a wait, and if he can't pass it on to someone else in time by touching them, he gets crushed. Another easy trophy. Pogo Painter is when things start to get challenging. The main reason being is that this game is all about scoring points in the time limit. Since we're in co-op mode, it takes the combined scores of both teams to decide the winner. This means that our solo score needs to be higher than both Dingodile and Koala Kong's combined score. That sounds daunting, but since I have played this game a lot, I knew the strategy to use. If you land on a tile, you turn that tile into your own colour. If you then collect a purple box, all of your colours disappear and you gain a point for each one. This means that it's vital that we overwrite our opponent's colours whenever we can. The best strategy by far though is to collect the Speed Boots power up. It only lasts for a few seconds, but it's worth it. If we can use the Speed Boots to quickly grab a box before our opponents can, or even another set of Speed Boots, we can rack up the score fairly quickly. Collecting another power up like a missile will remove our current power up, so we avoid the missiles to keep our speed, and the trophy is soon ours. Jungle Bash is up next, and this minigame is just an all-out brawl. The idea is to throw crates at your opponents to deplete their health bars. Both opponents need to be eliminated to win. Cortex has a vital role in these Bash minigames, and that is to distract the enemy with his large head. While they're focused on him, we can get in some damage of our own. It also helps that Crash's melee attack in these types of games hits all around him, and this can help to knock the crates out of the enemy's hands. Combine that with less than impressive AI, and this trophy isn't that hard at all. That is the fourth and final trophy of the first warp room. If we want to move on to the next warp room, we must defeat a boss. And the first boss is Papu Papu. The fight resembles a Bash-style minigame, but with extra gimmicks. We avoid the flipping tiles on the ground, defeat the mini bandicoots, and hit Papu when his shield is dropped. Cortex even survived this boss fight, which is more than I can say for Papu. He's dead. He's straight up dead. You don't survive that. RIP. The first game in the second warp room is another variation of the ball minigame. The only real difference is that we have magnets that can be used to attract the balls and then launch them all at once. In fact, Cortex being eliminated early on can help us out, because now Koala Kong is launching balls into a wall, and they just bounce right back at him. The same thing happens to us when Dingodile is eliminated, but then the strategy is to let our magnet wear off without launching the balls. They will just slowly roll away instead. This trophy soon came without too much difficulty. Tilt Panic is next, and this time it's impossible to keep Cortex alive. The ground tilts depending on weight distribution, so Cortex will almost always just slide right over the edge. Even if we head to the opposite corner to try and keep him alive, he doesn't last long. He would have saved himself, but his polar bear's feeling a bit under the weather. Thankfully, this is just as easy as the first Panic level, so that's another trophy. In Pogo A Go-Go, things are a bit different to the first Pogo level. There are no purple boxes to score points. Instead, we must make complete squares or rectangles. In fact, the shape doesn't really matter. As soon as we create a complete loop of yellow tiles, all yellow tiles are converted to points, as well as the tiles within the loop. This does mean that bigger loops earn more points, but we can also make a small loop if we just want to quickly cash in on all the yellow tiles we currently have. The AI in this game is a bit better than last time, but there is a fatal flaw in it, and we were lucky enough to see it for ourselves. If the AI find themselves bouncing on their own colours, they pick a direction and move that way until they are off their own colour. If both AI are on their own colours at the same time, right next to each other, and they both decide to move towards each other, they get stuck trying to get by each other forever. It's like two people bumping into each other on the street and then both going the same way at the same time for 30 seconds. Thanks to this, my score alone was more than double their combined score. I wish that could happen every time though, because the third game was very close. We just scraped the trophy this time. Space Bash is my favourite minigame. The floor can be damaged from the TNT and nitro explosions, and if you fall down, you're eliminated immediately. This is perfect for scoring scoring quick wins, and often Cortex would survive with more health than me. That was the quickest trophy so far. An original minigame next, Desert Fox. It's a 2v2 tank fight, but as usual it's actually 1v2 in this run. The thing to remember is that friendly fire is definitely a thing, which also means we can damage ourselves if our own bullets bounce back at us. However, the same goes for the AI, and they shoot themselves surprisingly often. We still have a tough time winning this one solo though, and the AI got the first 2 wins in a row. In the third game, Dingo defeated himself with his own mine, and Kong defeated me. Cortex would have fought back, but his tank was malfunctioning. Kong must have suffered a concussion at some point though, because he shot himself and then he blew himself up with his own mine.
He killed himself! Cortex won!
The next game was a complete disaster for the AI. They got stuck on each other for a while, then they both laid down a mine each, both of which dealt friendly fire damage back at them, and we won by barely doing anything. I swear the game will get harder later. We were able to scrape the 3rd win for another trophy. We have all 9 trophies so far, but to face the second boss, we also need 6 gems and 3 crystals. We decided to go back through the minigames and see if we can earn the gem and crystal for each one. Thankfully, we only need to win a single round for each gem and each crystal instead of 3. The criteria for victory is a bit different when going for these extra collectibles. For example, the Crash Ball gem sees both teams with a combined score. Cortex and I have 18 and the enemy have 30. If Cortex and I let 18 balls in across both of our own goals, we lose. If the enemy lets in 30 balls in across both of their goals, they lose. So basically, to earn the gem, we must win the game with a handicap, but in this challenge, that handicap is much worse. If Cortex lets a ball into his goal, it hinders me as well. This means we have to make a conscious effort to kick the balls either upwards or to the left, because kicking them into Cortex's goal is just as bad as letting the balls into our own goal. This is where the true difficulty of this challenge starts to show itself. We tried this for over an hour and we just couldn't pull it off. I think my best performance was getting the AI score down to 6, but that was a miracle. So instead we give the crystal a try. We're still handicapped, but with a bit more of a gimmick instead. For this game, we cannot use the extra kick to knock the balls away from us. The AI still can, of course, but at least I don't need to care about Cortex letting balls in this time. If we can't use the kick, we need to take full advantage of what we can do instead. In the ball minigames, if we hold either L1 or R1 while moving, we can move faster at the cost of accuracy and control. Knowing when to use this and then slowing down again when we need precise positioning is the key to winning this, and we only just pulled it off with a single point left. That's our first crystal. The gems on the polar levels all require us to win in a stricter time limit. We have just 45 seconds to eliminate both opponents by ourselves. It's quite challenging, but if we can make sure one of the AI gets crushed by a weight while we focus on pushing the other AI off the edge, it's more than doable. The crystal here plays like a normal round, except the flying machine is constantly trying to electrocute either Cortex or myself. The handicap here is that the enemy is immune to being zapped. But by sheer luck, the electricity actually helped me win this one. As I got zapped, it shoved me directly into Kong, which eliminated him. Pogo Painter's gem is very unfair. The idea is that both teams are racing to reduce their combined score to 0. The enemy only need 120 points between the two of them to win, and I need to score 180 points on my own. So I need 180 points before the AI can score 120 points combined. Also, if the timer runs out before there is a winner, it counts as a loss to the player, no matter what the scores were. Even if we could take our opponents out of the equation, scoring 180 points by myself in 1 minute and 20 seconds is challenging enough. We need to maintain the speed boots as much as possible and overwrite their colours as often as we can. The AI made a couple of odd pathing decisions now and then, and right at the end, we needed 17 points to win, and that is exactly how many we got with just 2 seconds left to go. Pogo Painter's crystal goes back to a fair scoring system, but now there are poisonous mushrooms sprouting randomly out of the ground. If either Cortex or myself touches one, it's an instant loss. Thankfully, a mushroom cannot spawn directly underneath a character if they stay on the same spot, so Cortex is safe. So as long as we concentrate on our own performance, we should be able to pull this off. But that's when I found out that if the timer runs out at at the same time I touch a box, we don't get the points for that box. So I lost my first attempt by a single point. I then proceeded to lose this minigame for the next half an hour or so. If it weren't for the fact that I got so close the first time, I might not have stuck this one out. We had to use everything possible to our advantage, using the speed boots to grab more speed boots, taking their colours, and then shooting the enemies with missiles, not only to stun them, but to remove their power-ups as well. The mushrooms don't harm the enemy, but they still act as walls to them, and that can help us sometimes. Eventually, we did pull this off for the crystal. The gems in the bash minigames all require us to win in a strict time limit, just like the polar minigames. Only 30 seconds to beat 2 opponents, and unlike Space Bash, there are no instant kill methods. TNT crates deal more damage than regular crates, so we used one to take out Kong, but time was running out. We just managed to hit Dingo with another TNT, but it wasn't enough. But luckily, Dingo grabbed a TNT crate, so we quickly spin attacked him to make it explode, which killed both of us with only 1 second remaining. Since Cortex was still alive, we won the gem. All part of Cortex's plan. The Crystal Challenge has nitro crates raining down on both Cortex and I. They aim for both of us in turn, and it wasn't long before Cortex was eliminated. As soon as he is, all the nitros come for us now. This is another difficult one, but it's also another level where we can turn the gimmick against the AI. At one point, I managed to lure both Dingo and Kong over to me, and then a nitro came down and hit them both. The AI is prone to friendly fire if their ally is between me and them. Using all of that to our advantage, we managed to get the crystal with only minor trouble. The Beach Ball gem has exactly the same handicap as Crash Ball, which makes this just as horribly difficult as that one was. The biggest issue with the gem challenge in the ball games is that player 1 is punished if player 2 fumbles. Despite so many attempts, we could not pull this one off. The Crystal Challenge sees the opponents take it in turns to have a shield across their goal for a few seconds at a time. This makes things awkward, but at least we don't have to rely on Cortex staying alive. This was a well-earned crystal as we only had 1 point left by the end. For the Tilt Panic gem, we need to win in just 25 seconds. I actually lost this minigame in just 4 seconds at one point, so that was embarrassing. The solution to winning this gem is simple. Touch the laser as soon as you can and hope it's a lightning power-up. If you can hold onto it for a few seconds without anyone else touching you, the 2 opponents get zapped, and since the level tilts anyway, they slide right over the edge when they're stunned. The Crystal Challenge just sees the arena tilt around wildly, but other than that, it plays the same as it normally would do. I'm not even sure how this is a handicap since the violent tilting seems to affect all players. We won this one first time. Remember how unfair the Pogo Painter gem was? Well, the Pogo A Go-Go gem is even worse. We need to score 300 points by ourselves before both opponents can score 180 points combined. Since we score points in this minigame by making looping patterns of our own colour, it is possible to rack up the points quite fast. The issue is the enemy can do the same thing, and this meant we lost this minigame a lot. Something I didn't mention during the trophy for this minigame was the coloured walls. Each corner is one of the 4 colours. These walls act as the player's own coloured tiles. So if we make an incomplete loop of yellow tiles, as long as the yellow wall is there to complete the loop, we still get the points. The colours on the wall rotate around the arena now and then, so our corner will change several times with each attempt, which means we need to keep following it. The reason for this is that we can use the wall to rack up the points faster than any other method, and that is just by staying in our corner, making mini squares over and over for 4 points a time. It's not a lot, but it's fast, and if you can grab a pair of speed boots first, it's rapid. The small squares in the corner don't work on the top left since Cortex is in the way, but the other corners work fine. Unfortunately, the enemy seems to have caught wise to our strat, and they take every opportunity they can to shoot me with missiles and electricity, which removes my speed up. This was simply too difficult. In the end, we gave up on this gem for now and we moved on to the crystal. The rules are majorly different now. We must win with the highest individual score. So whatever is the most amount of points we score in a single instance, that becomes our new total score. The points don't add up this time. Thankfully, the same goes for our opponents too, or this would have been straight up impossible. However, their end scores are still combined. We tried filling the board with as much yellow as possible while avoiding loops until as late as possible, but this would often fail as the AI would take our colours off us. In the end, it all came down to dumb luck. I was trying to make the biggest loop possible. Starting in the top right corner, we got an arrow pointing down. This gave us a vertical line of yellow tiles. We then made our way counterclockwise to the bottom left. And then another arrow spawned in the perfect spot, facing to the right. This completed a massive loop consisting of 56 tiles. This was higher than the enemy's current combined score of 32. So now the rest of the minigame needs to be spent getting rid of all the green and blue tiles we possibly can. If they can't score any more big points, we can win this. We can even focus on shooting them with missiles and electricity to slow them down. In the end, they only got 38 points combined, and we won.
I destroyed him! How did I get 56?
That took ages. For the Space Bash minigame, we just need to win in 30 seconds. And since this minigame has destructible floor, we can just pick our spots and spin them into the holes for instant kills. Or at least that was going to be the plan. We ended up winning without the holes in the end. To earn the crystal here, we have to win without the ability to pick up crates. We can still spin them into the enemy, but it's harder to aim this way. An alternative strategy is to just not press anything at all. It seems to be working for Cortex, so we may as well give it a try. We go AFK and let the AI do what they do best in this level. Run around randomly, blow themselves up, stand on TNT crates, miss many of their throws, and eventually end it all by jumping down a hole. That's another crystal. I thought winning a game of Desert Fox in 30 seconds for the gem would at least be a bit challenging, but all the AI did was miss their shots, blow themselves up with their own mines, and then hit each other with friendly fire, which handed me the win in 26 seconds. When going for the crystal, there's a water pit in the center, and if the spinning periscope sees us, it fires a bomb at us, which removes over half our health bar in a single hit. Of course, this means Cortex doesn't last long, but we were able to clutch it out in the end. Now we can face a very easy boss fight. Having two players really doesn't make this one any easier. If anything, Cortex falling off the edge right away just gets him out of our way, and the Bearminator goes down very quickly. The first minigame of the third warp room is yet another variation of the ball games, N-Ballism. There's a couple of new features this time around. There are force field power-ups for the players to grab by touching the corners they spawn at. This means I can only ever grab the power-up when it spawns in either the bottom left or right corners. Kong can sometimes beat me to it if it's on the left, but I will always get it if it's on the right. The main new gimmick of this minigame is N-Jin spawning in the center now and then to fire balls off in all directions. The force field power-up despawns as soon as N-Jin spawns in the middle, but if you can grab the power-up first, we can keep it while N-Jin fires balls everywhere. It only lasts a few seconds, but being able to repel all the balls away from us is so useful, especially when it gets hectic. We won this trophy with 3 wins to 2. Once again, the ball-based minigame's gem is absurdly difficult due to sharing a point total with an AFK player too. The gems for the previous ball minigames might have been just possible with perfect performance and perfect RNG, but I am absolutely convinced this one is impossible. N-Jin will just fire balls directly into Cortex's goal, and there's nothing we can do about it. For the crystal, N-Jin will only ever fire balls towards mine and Cortex's goals, but since it's easy to predict N-Jin's firing pattern, we can just keep deflecting them into Kong's goal. Although, when Cortex is eliminated, all of N-Jin's balls are fired in our direction. If not for the fact we beat Kong to the power-up, we might not have won this one. Melt Panic is a nice palette cleanser after what we've been through so far. It's just another polar minigame, but the arena slowly melts away. The AI is a bit better than it has been, but since there are even more negative effects from the lasers, this helps us get a trophy fairly easily. We need to win in just 20 seconds for the gem, and this is the most trouble we've had on a polar level so far. We failed this one so many times, but the eventual win was poetic. Not only did we manage to eliminate both Dingo and Kong at the same time, but Cortex survived too. The handicap in the Crystal Challenge is that we can't save ourselves from falling over the edge like we've been doing in all the polar minigames so far. This makes things difficult, but then the RNG gods were kind to us for once, and both Kong and Dingo got frozen back to back. Thanks to that, we beat them both in just 8 seconds. El Pogo Loco is up next. We can still make loops, but all it does is fill in the tiles inside the loop. we still need to grab a purple box to score the points. So it's kinda like a combination of the previous 2 Pogo minigames. The annoying thing they added this time is Ripperoo. He plants TNTs down to stun players, and he fires missiles all over the place now and then. The strategy for big points is to make loops and quickly grab a box. However, Ripperoo will cancel your colours on any tiles that he plants a TNT on, and this can mess up our loops before we can finish them. We came so close to winning many times. The AI is only getting harder. The only way we found to win against them here is to grab some speed boots, make the biggest loops we can far away from the enemy, and just hope Ripperoo doesn't get in our way. Overwriting their colours whenever we can is a given too, of course. Whenever we did win, it wasn't by much at all. It came down to a tiebreaker. We both had 2 wins each. We got ahead of them with about 20 seconds to go, so for those 20 seconds we used speed boots to quickly grab any box we could. Not for big points, but to prevent the AI from getting points, and we finally got 3 wins for the trophy. The gem is the same as the previous Pogo Gem challenges. We need to hit a higher score on our own than the AI needs to hit combined, and just like the previous Pogo minigames, this was very difficult. Whereas we just scraped the gem in Pogo Painter, we weren't able to do the same in Pogo A Go-Go, and unfortunately, it seems El Pogo Loco is even more difficult. We had to skip over this one and try the crystal instead. Now, if either Cortex or myself get hit with any of the nitros that Ripperoo spawns, we lose immediately. We can't just play normally and hope Ripperoo never spawns a nitro next to Cortex because he always will. We spent a long time trying to learn how to bait Ripperoo to bounce towards us instead. This seemed to work if we get close to Ripperoo as he passes by, but doing this for the entire minute and a half and getting ahead on points at the same time proves to be a nightmare. We had the idea to shoot Cortex with a missile if Ripperoo spawns a nitro next to him. This would give Cortex some immunity frames during the nitro explosion, which does prevent the instant loss. But being in the exact right position at the right time and with a missile ready multiple times in a single attempt while staying ahead on points just wasn't happening. I had to take a break from these Pogo minigames for a while, so we moved on to Snow Bash. It's like a regular Bash minigame, but with ice physics and a very angry penguin. If anything hits the penguin, he wreaks havoc all over the arena. Sometimes the penguin wins these fights for us. Well, Cortex helped. That's another trophy. We only get 30 seconds to win the gem though, and this is when I found out that a frame-perfect jump allows you to avoid damage from exploding TNTs, and you better believe the AI abused this. This was very difficult, I just couldn't defeat them both in time, and it doesn't help that Kong has more health than anyone else. However, something else they added to this Bash minigame are the weights. Just like in the Polar levels, these are an instant kill to whoever is last to hold it. We want to use our superior speed to pass it on to Kong and take out the biggest threat. Except Kong outsmarted me and just passed it on to Cortex. In the end though, we didn't need the weight. We managed to get good damage on Dingo early on with the TNTs, all the while Kong was having a shocking time. He either walked right into the penguin or stumbled into the TNTs all by himself. This allowed us to pick him off with only 2 seconds left to go. All the Crystal Challenge does is make the ice physics even worse, but if we use jumps to get around, that can help us to maintain our footing. Dingo and Cortex were having an intense 1v1 in the top left corner, fighting over who can get rid of the weight, and Cortex pulled off an incredible win. Penta Penguin finished off Kong for us, and that's the crystal secured. My favourite tank level is next, Metal Fox. The walls move up and down throughout the game, which makes this one a lot of fun. It can also trap you with your own mines sometimes, or even bounce your bullets back at you unexpectedly, both of which happen to the AI. We clean sweeped this minigame for the trophy. Winning this one in 30 seconds would be difficult if not for the fact there's another new power-up we can take advantage of, bombs. If we collect the bombs, we can fire high damaging projectiles over the walls. This was more than enough to wipe out Dingo quickly, and we were just able to pick off Kong with only 4 seconds left to go. The Crystal Challenges sees mines parachuting down into the arena, and they aim for both Cortex and I. If one of them hits us, it's an instant kill, and of course, this happened to Cortex right away. We actually won this crystal first try thanks to staying on the move, making use of bombs, and letting the enemies hit each other with friendly fire. All that Bomberman training I've been doing as a kid is really paying off. Another original minigame is up next, Dot Dash. It's just a race around a small donut-shaped shaped track. This is one of those mini games I was always pretty good at as a kid, and my friend's job would be to get in the AI's way. That's because only one member of the team actually needs to complete the 10 laps for the team to win. Cortex can't slow the AI down by crashing into them this time though, because he already has 10 points in his license and he's not about to risk a 3-year ban. However, he can passively slow them down by just being in the way, or aggroing missiles. After we won the first 2 races in a row, we experience a prime example of just how much this game cheats. At the very start of the 3rd race, Dingo is awarded a lap immediately. Despite the game's cheating, we sniped Dingo with a missile to just win the 3rd race for the trophy. We better get used to starting at a disadvantage though. The gem challenge requires us to complete 2 more laps than the AI, and in only 1 minute. We need to collect as much Wumpa Fruit as we can, as this allows us to use Speed Boost. We just need to use it sparingly so as not to drive over the edge. We scraped the win with this very tactic. The Crystal Challenge might be the most frustrating challenge so far. It's up there with the gem challenges on the ball games. If the AI hits either Cortex or myself with a missile, it's an instant loss. No matter how good we perform, Cortex can lose this one for us in an instant. This is exactly what happened to us for the next half an hour. We tried so many different strats. We bumped Cortex off the edge ourselves as we passed by him, just so there would be a few seconds per lap where he couldn't get shot. We also found out that only 2 missiles can spawn at any one time, so if we collect one and hold on to it, the AI will only ever be able to get 1 missile between them. We also tried to collect every single missile to prevent the AI from ever getting one, but eventually a missile would always spawn in front of the AI every single time. Despite our best efforts, we could not win this one. I think the best we ever did was complete 7 out of 10 laps. The AI seems to spontaneously turn into snipers by the time we get into the last couple of laps though. I had to skip this one in the end. The next boss is fought in a tank, and we get unlimited bombs too. And like with the other bosses, we don't need Cortex's help. There's even a checkpoint in this boss fight after their machine is destroyed, so we can try the last phase again with full health. Fun fact, the Komodo brothers' face icons in the top right seem to be reversed. The wrong one takes damage when they're hit. Once again, the first minigame of the next warp room is a ball game, Sky Balls. The only unique part about this one is that the arena we're playing on randomly tilts towards different corners. This can either help or hinder us depending on the direction, but overall this isn't too difficult. The AI is certainly getting better though, so we lost a couple of times, but we got the trophy before too long. Once again, the ball game gem is a prime example of being forced to rely on our teammate. We start at a disadvantage of 7 balls, 25 to 18. Not only is Cortex asleep on the job as usual, but if the arena ever tilts towards him, he's going to let a lot of balls in. On our first attempt, we managed to get the AI down to just 8 balls remaining. For a first attempt, that seemed fairly close, and we thought we could pull this off with some practice. Except I proceeded to fail the gem challenge for the next 20 minutes, and I never got that close again. My first attempt must have been extremely lucky, so once again we'll have to skip over this one for now. The Skyballs crystal is more frustrating because it's very easy to lose, but it's also very doable if we stay focused. When the AI kick a ball, sometimes it turns red. If we touch a red ball, we are eliminated immediately. Letting the red ball in is fine as they don't count towards any scores. Cortex would always get eliminated early on. In fact, one time we both got eliminated from the very first ball in the first 10 seconds. Another time I got very close to winning with Kong eliminated and Dingo only on 1, only to get sniped by a red ball. Finally, after a shocking performance from the AI, we did win this crystal. The next minigame might be one of the easiest in the game. It's like a normal polar minigame, except you can throw bombs at your opponents to knock them off their polar bears. They are on foot now, which nerfs them significantly. A bomb will also outright defeat anyone not on a polar bear, which makes bombs extremely useful. We won these 3 games in a row. The gem gives us a 25-second time limit. This would be very difficult if not for the bombs. We had Kong crushed and fired a couple of bombs at Dingo to win with just 1 second remaining. The crystal starts both Cortex and I on foot without our polar bears. We bombed Kong, zapped them both by lightning, pushed Dingo off the edge, and bombed Kong again. We won this one first try in just 24 seconds. The next minigame, Pogo Padlock, makes the usual Pogo minigames a lot more strategic. A few things have changed. We no longer fill in tiles by making loops. It's back to purely breaking purple boxes. However, if we ever bounce on our own color tile, we instantly lose all of our own colors. So it's important to avoid retracing steps before finding a box. This also means it's important to plot out a path ahead of time so as not to trap yourself within your own colored tiles. There are also padlock power-ups moving around the arena that we can grab, and this locks our tiles for a few seconds, preventing anyone from overtaking our colors. This also prevents us from removing all of our own colors if we backtrack over our own colors, which can be a lifesaver if we ever get trapped. Also, if we hit somebody with a missile, we steal all the colors they had at the time, even if they're your teammate. Of course, all these rule changes apply to the AI too. My favorite strategy is getting in the AI's way and forcing them onto their own color. All this makes Pogo Padlock a very strategic, in-depth, and enjoyable minigame. Or it would be if not for the fact that it's 2 against 1. We were at this for over an hour. I've come to learn that building up a lot of tiles only for them to be stolen right before you can reach a box is the worst feeling you can possibly get from this game. There is only one thing we can hope for to help even the odds, even if just a little. If the AI find themselves on either their own padlock tiles or an ally's padlock tiles, they will sometimes bounce back and forth between 2 tiles until the padlock wears off. This helps to waste the AI's time, and it's about the only thing we can hope for if we want to win 3 rounds before they do. Then, in the final game, somehow I completely destroyed both of them. That was the most frustrating trophy so far. Once again, the gem is extremely unfair. It requires us to win 240 points on our own before the AI can score 180 points combined. Even if we spend time preventing the AI from scoring points, we still only have 1 minute and 30 seconds to score those 240 points. I sometimes manage to get ahead of the AI, so if not for the time limit, this could have been very doable. Unfortunately, I just couldn't pull it off, so we moved on to the crystal. Now, we no longer create yellow tiles when we bounce. The only way to get yellow tiles is to hit our opponents with missiles and steal their colors. This is a nightmare, especially if you're like me and you're terrible at aiming the missiles. Interestingly, speed boots don't spawn at all during the crystal challenge here. It seems to be twice as many missile spawns instead, which is fine as that's exactly what we need. As difficult as this challenge is, there is one slight advantage we have over the AI. We are allowed to bounce on our own colors without removing all of our colors. Over the course of several hours of failure, we did start to develop a strategy. We beeline for the nearest missile whenever we don't have one, and instead of being on the move, we wait next to a box until an AI tries to get it. We shoot them as they go by and quickly bounce on the box to cash in on the stolen points. We did this over and over, targeting mostly Dingo, to the point where we were able to bully him out of almost any points for the vast majority of the game. This is the strat that finally led to our victory. Time to play a much less stressful minigame, Drain Bash. The crates seem to deal less damage than usual, but this time weapon crates will spawn in. The weapons deal more damage than the crates. The best weapon is easily the homing attack. You can fire it 3 times, it deals big damage, and it's very hard to avoid. We just need to make sure not to spam the homing attack so that the AI's iframes wear off between hits. If the enemy gets a weapon, hitting them first will cause them to lose their weapon. It wasn't long before we got the trophy in a reverse sweep. As always, we have a strict time limit in the gem challenge, just 25 seconds. The homing weapon is practically required to win this time. We just need to keep trying until that is the first weapon we get and make sure to hit all 3 times. This is a good start. We whittle down their health bars bit by bit, with crates and TNTs as quick as we can, but they stay alive by grabbing Wumpa fruits. We grab another weapon with only 3 seconds left to go. It's an 8-way missile, and we just so happen to take them both out at the same time for the gem. In the crystal challenge, the only handicap is that we're not allowed to melee attack the weapon crates. Otherwise, we take extremely high damage. If we want to break them, we have to pick them up and throw them instead. In fact, one time I used an 8-way missile to damage the enemy, and because I was standing in the vague vicinity of a weapon crate, it took about 9/10 of my health bar in one go. Once again, the homing weapon is the saving grace of this minigame, and we earn the crystal. Jungle Fox is next. It's a tank minigame without the Bomberman style walls this time. This means the mines have an area of effect explosion instead of stretching vertically and horizontally. After 20-something seconds, one of the idols in the center jumps down onto the field and deals immense AoE damage as it lands. The idols will move around, dealing more AoE damage whenever they stop. After a few more seconds, the second idol will jump down and do the same. Since the movement pattern of the idols always seems to start off the same, we can lure the enemy to where the idols will bounce next. We did this with Dingodile while Kong and Cortex were trapped in a heated 1v1 battle in the top left corner. It seems they were perfectly evenly matched as they took each other out at the same time. We got Dingo stuck on a corner and waited for the idol to finish him off. That was a fun trophy. Winning this one in just 25 seconds for a gem is not going to be easy, especially since we've been relying on the idols before now, and the idols don't jump down at all before the time runs out. There's no way we'd be able to deal enough damage in time with our normal weapons, so let's get a better weapon. One of the power-ups being parachuted down are missiles, the same missiles we had during the Komodo brothers boss fight. These missiles deal a lot of damage, so we just need to hope they spawn in as early as possible. The winning attempt was ridiculous. Both AI placed a mine down immediately, and both of them ended up damaging themselves. Then a missile power-up landed close by, and using those, we took them both out one after the other. RNG be blessed. During the Crystal Challenge, the idols spin around and shoot at both Cortex and I. The more it fires at Cortex, the better. This buys me the time I need to grab a missile and deal high damage, and then finish the job with normal fire. This was an easy crystal. Toxic Dash is next, the second dash minigame. This time there are toxic waste barrels on the track, and the AI will almost always drive straight into them if we let them. It's a shame that the barrels don't respawn mid-game. Other than that, a toxic monster will spawn some baby toxic monsters on the track, and the AI seems to love driving into those a lot too. This was quite an easy trophy. In fact, the AI in Toxic Dash is a complete mess. The amount of times I saw them zoom over the edge, drive into the barrels, and then hit each other was astounding. Despite being a 2-lap disadvantage, the gem was very easy. The only difference in the Crystal Challenge is that if we fall off the track, we are slowed down for a few seconds after respawning. This is incredibly more lenient than Dot Dash's Crystal. All we have to do here is not fall off, and after the AI embarrassed themselves for 47 seconds, we won after lapping them both 5 times. I wish more of these minigames were this easy, but we have to suffer Ring Ding instead. It's another original minigame idea. The outer ring spins around while we need to jump and pop balloons. However, only our own coloured balloons will earn us points. If we touch any other player's colour, we get stunned. There are also black balloons which either remove all balloons on the screen or turn all balloons on screen to our colour. What's more, there are 2 different power-ups we can get from the spawning purple boxes: winged shoes or a vacuum. The shoes allow us to walk in any direction on the moving ring at a static speed, but the vacuum is the best power-up by far. It pulls in all balloons of our own colour for a few seconds, which results in a lot of quick points. You can take a power-up away from a player by hitting them with a melee attack, and if we ever get a power-up, the AI will always beeline right for us to hit us. Playing keep away is key to victory. Getting enough points on my own is tough, but very doable, and we earn the trophy. The gem works in the same way as the Pogo minigames. We need to reduce our score to 0 before the AI does, and in a fairly strict time limit. We need to pop 40 balloons by ourselves before the AI can pop 30 balloons between the 2 of them. The key to victory here is the vacuum power-up, but we soon found out that it's not enough by itself. We need the perfect combination, a vacuum and a black balloon that turns all balloons yellow. Having both of these happen at the same time will build up our score rapidly. In fact, this combination also pulls in the other black balloons, which can keep the rest of the balloons yellow for longer. If our vacuum ever pulls in the balloons that are not our colour, then just wait a few seconds and they will turn back yellow. I made attempts at this one for just over an hour before we pulled it off in the end. For the crystal, we play in the same way, except if we ever pop someone else's balloon, we are instantly eliminated. It's not an instant loss for the team, just an elimination for the individual player. You can't normally be eliminated in Ring Ding in any other game, but you can during the Crystal Challenge. This is highly annoying because it would have been a lot better if they did this in other Crystal Challenges, like Pogo Loco or Dot Dash. Our strategy was, of course, to use the vacuum, but the AI will always try to hit us to take the power-up away. Since they tend to hit us after we land from a jump, we wait until the enemy gets gets close and hit them before they can hit us. Then we can jump up into all of our balloons for loads of points. It was challenging, but we got the crystal without too much pain. The final boss is up next, Oxide Ride. We avoid obstacles by dodging them or shooting them to destroy them. The damage we take carries over to the second phase, but it's not a problem as phase 2 is also a checkpoint. Losing phase 2 restarts the phase and we have full health. Plus Cortex is back. The final phase puts us both on one side of a ball game arena. Even though Cortex can't move, he still blocks his fair share of balls for us. The problem becomes dodging the missiles fired at us. We don't have much room to maneuver and Cortex takes one every time, so he is soon eliminated. It's nice not being outnumbered for once, but that doesn't change the fact that this boss is very difficult. However, this boss has dynamic difficulty, which means it gets slightly easier every time we fail, up to a certain point I assume. I don't know if every boss fight includes dynamic difficulty, I just know this one does. It's also only the boss fights that have dynamic difficulty and none of the actual mini-games, which is why some of them took me over an hour. After a few failures, we finally defeated Oxide. But there's one more boss fight right afterwards, against each other. This brings me to why I chose these two characters for player 1 and 2 right at the start. If the game is beaten in co-op mode, but the team consists of both a good character and an evil character, there is one final tiebreaker game to decide the ultimate winner. The two characters being Crash and Cortex just felt like too good a fit. For our purposes, it doesn't matter who wins, we still get an extra trophy regardless. Fun fact, you only get a trophy from the tiebreaker on the NTSC version of the game, which is one of the reasons we chose this version. The tiebreaker is the first to win 3 standard 1v1 bash style mini-games, no gimmicks. As the first round starts, neither one of us wants to make the first move. We gain the upper hand shortly afterwards by spinning a TNT into Cortex, but he responds by just standing there, menacingly. Crash couldn't take it as he stumbled into a nitro, then a TNT went off right between them during a tug of war, and Crash just survived to take round 1. As round 2 started, Crash approached Cortex, crate in hand, but then a TNT went off, damaging both competitors. Crash took more damage from this, perhaps because the crate he was carrying broke over his face in the explosion. Not being the smartest bandicoot in the world, Crash decided to try it again as a test, just to see if you do take more damage while carrying a crate. In Crash's frustration, he turned around and bumped into a nitro. Cortex takes round 2. At the start of round 3, Cortex sees Crash pick up a TNT, so he strategically stays out of range by not moving, and the TNT goes off in Crash's hands. Realizing the success of that strategy, Cortex does the exact same thing again. Crash slides a crate towards his opponent, but Cortex avoids it. However, the crate smashed against the wall behind him, and this gave Cortex a fright. His heart isn't what it used to be, and he passes out. The third round goes to Crash. In round 4, Crash managed to reach through a TNT to pick up a normal crate. No one's sure how he did this, not even him, and in his confusion, the TNT went off in Crash's face. Some Wumpa fruit spawned in, but since Cortex knew it was a trap, he stayed away from them. Crash, however, fell for it hook, line and sinker, and round 4 goes to Cortex. In the decider, Crash attempts the most difficult feat in all of Bash minigames. He's going to attempt to pick up a nitro crate, to use it as a weapon. One wrong move and... oh wait, he blew himself up. This means that our winner is Cortex. Evil has triumphed. Uka Uka has achieved world domination. The good guys lose. But this also seems to have unlocked a 5th warp room, so I guess it's not all bad. We can't play any of the minigames in the 5th warp room yet though. We need a certain amount of collectibles first, and the first thing we see is that Splash Dash requires 17 gold relics. We can earn gold relics from every minigame we've already played, only this time we need to win 2 rounds in a row against the hardest AI the game has to offer. I don't think we need to break down each and every minigame all over again. The minigames don't have any gimmicks during the relic challenges. For this reason, I will try to condense all the relic challenges down in this video unless something interesting happens during them. They're played in the same way as the trophy challenges, except our opponents are always the best characters for whatever minigame we're on, and their AI is a lot more advanced. This basically boils down to just playing really well, and hoping it's enough to get the consecutive wins that we need. It should go without saying that beating the hardest AI in every single minigame at a 2-on-1 disadvantage is extremely difficult, but for many of the minigames, not impossible. I'm only showing my victories right now, but do know that each relic took up to several hours of practice to pull off the wins. The ball games are very challenging and required a lot of practice. this. The Polar games were perhaps the easiest of all thanks to the power-ups, but the Pogo games are an absolute nightmare. Trying to beat the hardest AI's combined score by myself was enough to drive me insane. Coco is a point-scoring machine, and if the AI gets a missile, they rarely miss. Also, not so fun fact, Rillaroo is programmed to move one single frame faster during Pogo games compared to all other characters. Basically, this meant that we couldn't pull off the gold relic challenges on Pogo Painter or Pogo Loco. But I did just manage to pull it off on Pogo A Go-Go. Being able to take advantage of the looping gimmick was really the only reason I managed it, and even then I only just scraped each win. The Bash games are a bit more difficult, but they are perhaps the second easiest when it comes to the relic challenges. The two best characters for the Bash games are Cortex and Brio, since they can throw crates the furthest, but since we already have Cortex on our side, the game subs their second player for someone else. That second character happens to be Dingo Dial, who really isn't the best at Bash games. During the Space Bash Gold Relic Challenge, Dingo decided to find out what would happen if he stood on top of two TNTs and then did a spin. The relics for the tank games are just like the Bash games, a bit more challenging but still manageable. The AI are still prone to friendly fire, although this is when we found out just how much more unfair this game can get. During the relic challenges, the AI's health bar can be fully depleted, but sometimes they will stay alive. Another example of how unfair this game can get. How did Coco not fall off sooner here? Thankfully, Karma caught up with her and she got trapped in a giant snowball, giving Cortex the solo victory. Another one that I struggled with were the dot dash relics. The AI are just on another level. The only way I won these relics as a kid is because my friend would actively get in the AI's way while I won the race. I had no choice but to just get good. Another very difficult one was Pogo Padlock. I feel like we got very lucky on our winning attempts. Rillaroo got stuck on our padlock tiles for a while, Coco went over her own colours to remove all her own tiles, and we got a good amount of speed boosts. Pogo Padlock was the second of the two Pogo minigames I was able to earn the gold relic for, mostly due to all the unique aspects of the game, like stealing points from other players with missiles. We have 20 gold relics, which means we're missing 2, and these are from the first 2 Pogo minigames. But since we only need 17 gold relics to unlock the first minigame in the 5th warp room, we head there. It's another racing game, Splash Dash. There are now metal poles sticking out randomly from the centre. At best they get in our way, and at worst they push us right off the edge. Thankfully they've added the ability to jump, so we can clear these poles without much issue. Easy trophy. The gem is more challenging, but not by much. As long as we get all the Wumpa Fruit we can zoom around the track and make up the difference between our lap totals relatively easily. I don't even know what the crystal challenge is. I read it, I played it, I won it, and I still don't know. The spinning part in the centre seems to spin faster, but most of the time the spinning poles ended up pushing me along, which just helped me. I feel like it would have made more sense to have the poles spinning counterclockwise instead, while we raced clockwise. Wouldn't that have made this more challenging? I don't know, easy crystal. We'll go straight in for the gold relics as well, and this is where the easy times end. The AI are insanely good at Splash Dash on the relic challenges. If we fall off even once, it's safe to assume we're not winning. We did get it in the end though, not an easy relic at all. Since we have at least 19 crystals, the next minigame is also unlocked. This one is called Drag and Drop, which I am now only just realising that it might be a reference to the term drag and drop. Anyway, this is another original minigame. We ride dragons, collect gems, and spit them at the moving target to score points. The amount of points we earn depends on the coloured section we're standing on when we hit the target, and naturally we need to beat the two AI's combined score. The gems bounce around a lot, so it's a bit of a mad scramble to get the gem each time. We can even charge into the enemy to make them drop a gem if they have one. Sometimes Cortex will block the target at inconvenient moments, but once we found ourselves in a routine of getting 5 points per throw, the trophy soon comes our way. The gem challenge requires us to score 40 points in just 45 seconds, or before the AI can score 30 points between them. This one was a lot more difficult than the trophy, and I was at this for a while. If we pick up a gem, we can't afford to waste time because the AI will be very quick to charge into us. After many failed attempts, somebody in our live chat gave us the forbidden knowledge on how to win this game. Instead of throwing the gem directly at the target, stand in the 5-point zone, wait for the target to approach either the left side or the right side, side, and then throw the gem directly to the left or right, depending on where the target is. The gem will bounce around the edge of the arena and hit the target almost every time. Holding down the throw button will boost the distance we can throw the gem, which basically means we can get 5 points every throw. In fact, one of our throws counted for double points once. It's about time the game's jank worked in our favour. For the crystal, we can only score points when standing on the flashing zones. That rule does not apply to the AI, of course. Whenever the 5-point zone is flashing, we quickly use our strategy that won us the gem. This led to our most disappointing loss so far. You don't get anything for a tie in this game. Halfway through the minigame, a third gem spawns in, which means the AI will stop gunning for me for a while if I have a gem, since there are enough to go around the three of us. This still makes for a hectic game, and the only reason we won in the end was because of another double pointer in the last 5 seconds. A well-earned crystal. As I'm sure you've already guessed, we spam the curved gem shots during the relic challenges as well. We'd be doomed otherwise. Trying to steal a gem from the AI is an effort in futility. They will always get it right back. It got to the point where I didn't even try to steal gems. Instead, I would wait near the 5-point zone. I would let the AI score some points and then catch the gem as it bounced back so I could score 5 points. This was an extremely close game. I just managed to get 1 point ahead with only 2 seconds to spare. Brio then grabbed the gem, stood on the 2-point zone and fired. The time ran out as the gem was in the air. 1 more second and we would have lost this one. This is the point we noticed the platinum relics were also available to earn on all the minigames we've played so far. These are earned in exactly the same way as the gold relics, only we need to win 3 games in a row instead of 2. So if we already have the gold relic on a minigame, it's safe to assume we're also able to earn the platinum relic on the same minigame. Anything I could say about the platinum relic challenges would just be me repeating myself from the gold relic challenges. I will come clean on something though. I did resort to using save states between the rounds when going for the relics. I justified this in my head because winning every single minigame that we've already got the gold relic on all over again 3 times in a row, after I've already won them twice in a row, was starting to eat away at my sanity. I didn't use save states during the actual minigames, only between them, so consider this run to be what's theoretically possible. I just condensed about 10 hours of footage into a single paragraph. The next minigame in Warp Room 5 is unlocked after earning 21 gold relics. It's another original one, Mallet Mash. We each get mallets and we have to squash mushrooms to score points. There are also power-ups like speed boots or shockwave attacks, but without the right strategy, we don't stand a chance of beating the AI's combined score. The key to victory is to take advantage of the scoring system. Each mushroom is worth 2 points by default. After a few seconds, the mushroom starts to shake, at which point it's worth 3 points. Wait a bit longer and the mushroom shakes even more violently, at which point they're worth 5 points. Wait too long after that and the mushroom bursts, knocking over anyone in range. This means that each mushroom is worth 2 points at least or 5 points at most. Now and then a gold mushroom will spawn, and these work in the same way, only they're worth 10, 15 or 20 points. The idea is to clock the order that the mushrooms spawn in so we can hit them in the right order and maximize our score. Of course, if an AI is nearby, it's best to just hit the mushroom quickly before they get it first, and when we see a gold mushroom we make that a priority. We can also hold down the attack button to ready the mallet. This allows us to wait for the moment that a mushroom starts to shake. Plus, holding the mallet like this causes a mini shockwave when we strike, which knocks down anybody nearby. This also removes the power-ups from anybody we hit. The problem is the AI will often take advantage of everything I just said, so even if we do as well as we can, we still lag behind them on points after the AI's score has been combined. We struggle to even get close, and we never won a single game. Until we have the trophy in a minigame, we can't attempt the gem or crystal challenges either. That is a grand total of 160 out of 201% completion. This brings us to the furthest we can possibly get in this challenge run without using glitches. So I say, it's time to use some glitches. Well, just one glitch technically, but the effects from it are so varied and numerous it feels like multiple glitches combined. It's called memory manipulation, and it does exactly that. Here's how to do it. If we go to save the game, we can rename the save file whenever we want to. We highlight the letter V at the bottom left corner, and then we press both down and left at the same time to move our cursor out of bounds. We can't see what we're highlighting anymore, but inputting directions will still cause the sound effect, as if we're moving between letters. It doesn't matter what directions we input, we can never get the cursor back on the letters unless we leave this screen. What we're doing by inputting directions here is altering the game's memory. Doing this causes all sorts sorts of bizarre things. We can mess with the game both visually and functionally. We would need to input a very specific combination of directional inputs to actually change anything. The Crash community has logged many of the effects caused consistently by certain strings of directional inputs, but know that the codes differ with different versions of the game. The European version of the game has a few codes that require inputting 2 directions at once. This makes things a lot more awkward, so this is another reason to perform this challenge on the NTSC version. Some strings of directional codes are very short, and others are a lot longer. In fact, we can combine multiple strings of directional input codes together to stack their effects. This leads to a lot of trial and error, but eventually there was a string of inputs created that has been dubbed the all-in-one code, and it is to provide speedrunners the most beneficial effects for finishing the game faster. The code is on screen now. Each letter stands for the corresponding direction. U is up, D is down, L is left, R is right. Once we've input the string, we press the start button to close the screen, and then we press triangle to leave the next screen. We have now applied numerous unintended effects to several of the mini-games. It's time to go back over all the challenges we were unable to complete the first time around. The first one being the gem for Crash Ball. Right away we notice the 3, 2, 1 countdown does not appear on screen. This is proof that the all-in-one code has worked. And hilariously, part of the code we used activates a debug option that is not available during all the games. It provides us an option to press the X button to force an instant win. This was never meant to be used by anyone other than the developers, so the fact that we can use this ourselves without any third-party hacking software is amazing. Who the game decides is the winner seems to depend on how much time has passed, but hitting the X button right away will always award player 1 the win instantly, and that is a gem to our collection. Do know that this instant win debug code does not work on the vast majority of the minigames. Next up are the Pogo Painter Relics. There is another part of the code that we input that reduces the timer down to just 35 seconds. As soon as 30 seconds go by, the timer drops to just 5 seconds remaining. This works for all minigames that are on a timer, which is why we didn't notice it during Crash Ball. This makes earning the relics easier, as all we need to do is get a lucky start and score a decent amount of points early on. If we can just get a quick lead before 35 seconds, then we can win. This is still easier said than done, but it's a darn sight easier than being ahead after a minute and a half. After some time, we got both the gold and platinum relics. The Beach Ball and End Ballism gems are both earned in the exact same way as Crash Ball. We press X to force the win for player 1. So that's 2 more gems to the collection. This all-in-one glitch actually makes the gem challenges on Pogo games even more difficult than they already were, since all it does is reduce the timer down to 35 seconds. However, the El Pogo Loco Crystal is much easier with only 35 seconds on the clock. Keeping Ripperoo away from Cortex for a shorter time helps a lot, and with a quick early lead, we scraped the win just in time, right as Cortex had a nitro place next to him. The reduced timer also makes the relics substantially easier as well. I'm not sure if it's the memory manipulation causing the background to glitch like that or if it always did that, but regardless, that is 2 more relics. We return to Dot Dash. This is the crystal challenge where we can't get hit by a missile or we lose instantly. But check this out. Part of the all-in-one code has made it so that every single item that appears on the track automatically spawns underneath player 1. This is why Crash constantly has a missile, and our speed boost bar is constantly filling up. This means the AI can never shoot us with a missile. However, we only have 35 seconds to finish 10 laps now, plus the lap counters are no longer displayed thanks to the glitch, so we'll have to count our own laps. Another weird side effect is if we hit the AI with a missile, it counts as Cortex getting hit as well, which is an instant loss, so we can't risk using a missile. We allow our speed boost bar to fill up a bit during the first lap, and then we take full advantage of it by speeding through most of the race. Doing this allows us to complete 10 laps with just 1 second remaining. That's another crystal down. Skyballs is where the all-in-one code fails us. The Force Victory command awards the win to the AI team instead of us. Most of the time, Dingo Dial is awarded the win, but sometimes the game would give it to Kong instead. It seemed to depend how long the game had lasted before forcing victory, but either way, the win was never given to us. This brings us back to the Mallet Mash trophy, and just like with the Pogo game relics, we just need to score a lot of points quickly to get ahead before 35 seconds. Since a gold mushroom only spawns once every 15 to 20 seconds, we only have time to hit one of them, so we have to make sure to get it before the AI does. As we've already mentioned, we need to try and maximize our score with each mushroom and hope for shockwave power power-ups, otherwise we don't stand a chance. Without the moral support from my live chat...
Alex! You did it! That was you!
I don't think we would have the patience to pull this one off. That was easily the most difficult trophy so far. Just like with the Pogo games, this gem is impossible. Whether we have 35 seconds or 90 seconds, we're never getting our score down to 0 in time, or before the AI do the same. The crystal is a lot more feasible, but still very difficult. The AI both cause impacts with every single hammer strike. Normally, to create a mini shockwave without a power-up, you'd have to hold square down for a few seconds. This delays the strike and thus slows us down, but the impact will knock over any other player, and even more, remove their power-ups. The thing is, these shockwaves also knock down your teammate, and with the AI causing a shockwave every single strike, they end up hitting each other a lot. As long as we can stay away from both of them, get the gold mushroom, and even at the last minute get a shockwave power-up, we can just scrape the win. Considering the relic challenges are essentially more difficult versions of the trophy challenges, we stand 0 chance of winning the relics in Mallet Mash. I can't tell you the amount of time I've wasted trying. Now that we have over 23 crystals, we have unlocked Swamp Fox. And since we've not tried this minigame yet, we decided to remove the memory manipulation glitch to give it a fair shot. The minigame itself is a simple version of the tank minigames, it's just in an open space for the shootout. We have a shield which can be timed to prevent damage, and the mines float around the water until someone touches them. The direction they float seems to be RNG though, and you can't drop 2 mines at once either. The keys to victory are goading the AI to shoot each other, dropping mines near the enemies, and then shooting the enemy if they get distracted by shooting Cortex. We got super lucky once, and both the AI drove into our mine. They were close to defeat from there. Another strat is that we can drive into our own mines if the enemy is close to it, which catches them in the blast too. We noticed that the AI never placed mines in Swamp Fox, so it's nice to finally have some kind of advantage, even if only a small one. Thanks to this, we did manage to win the trophy. The gem requires us to win in 25 seconds. The only way we have a chance is if we can hit the AI with multiple mines. Something to remember about the mines is that we can't place them directly under another player and expect them to detonate right away. There is a grace period after placing the mine if anyone is next to it straight away. It took that one perfect game of both AIs driving into mines back to back and then picking them off one at a time, and we finally managed to win with just 3 seconds remaining. The crystal challenge is the stuff of nightmares. Now there are 2 torpedoes slowly following Cortex and I. If we touch the torpedo that's following us, we are instantly eliminated. We are allowed to touch the other player's torpedo, but this still forces us to stay on the move almost the entire game. If it were just this though, we might have had a chance, but for some reason, the crystal challenge takes away our ability to place mines. Our regular fire does not do a lot of damage. Kong's is a lot stronger, and Dingo can fire 2 bullets at once. We are outnumbered and outmatched. Without mines, this is absurdly difficult. I don't want to say it's impossible, as I feel like absolute perfect performance could result in a win. The only real strat I had was to try and force the friendly fire between the AI, and even if we can defeat one of them, the remaining one still has a huge advantage over us, and we can't rely on friendly fire anymore at that point, and the torpedo still forces us to stay moving all the time. This simply wasn't happening. The Swamp Fox relics are also very challenging, but we have our mines back, and thanks to those mines we were able to win these relics after quite a long time. There are still 2 more minigames we haven't tried yet. Keg Kaboom requires 25 gems and we don't have enough, but Dante's Dash requires 27 trophies, which we do have exactly. The only reason we had enough is due to the trophy we got from the tiebreaker, and it was thanks to playing the NTSC version of the game that we got that trophy. Otherwise, we would need the trophy from Keg Kaboom, which we can't access. Dante's Dash is a racing game with a mini volcano in the center. All we have to do is avoid the fireballs, and other than that, it's a bog standard race. In other words, the trophy came without too much difficulty. The gem is tough though, being 2 laps down from the start with semi-decent AI, and we're gonna need a lot of Wumpa Fruit. Thankfully, Dingo seemed to be driving under the influence, and he drove off the edge right before completing his final lap. This was the only reason I was able to cross the finish line before him and earn the gem. The crystal challenge requires us to win the race while a pterodactyl tries to attack us now and then. Except I won this first try. The pterodactyl never even touched me, so I don't even know what would happen if it got us. A developer was probably really proud of that pterodactyl too. Oh well, easy crystal. The relics are tough but far far from impossible. We just need to play our best, and after enough time, we get both the gold and platinum relics. This brings us to the end of the game. We have unlocked as much as we possibly can, with and without the all-in-one code. If we want to stand a chance of pushing this run further, we need to start using other codes that the speedrunners don't use. After some research, we found a code that just might be useful. We decided to go back over the previous challenges we were still unable to beat, starting with the earliest, the Pogo A Go-Go gem. Right away, we can see what the new code has done. It has completely removed player 3. Their icon at the top has been replaced with a tiny Kong icon instead for some reason. This is perfect. Now we are no longer competing with the combined score of two AIs. We just need to score 300 points before Kong can score 180 points or before 90 seconds. It's still not easy, but it is a darn sight easier than it was. It still took me over an hour of attempts though. We used the usual strat of making loops in the corner where the yellow wall is. This along with good arrow and speed boot RNG, and we finally pulled this off. We can use the exact same code for the El Pogo Loco gem. The point requirement is 270 this time. However, we don't have the benefit of making quick continuous loops for fast points. This makes the race against the clock even more difficult, and another hour of attempts go by with no success. This is when we learned of another memory manipulation code. This one removes the time limit completely. The clock never ticks down at all. We can even combine this code with the one that removes player 3. So now it's purely a 1v1 race between me and Kong. It was still very close though. We played as well as we ever have, and we won when Kong only needed 4 more points. These same codes can be used for Pogo Padlock's gem as well. It's the exact same deal. No player 3 and no timer. Put some time into it and that's another gem for us. We tried the code that removes player 3 for the Skyballs gem, and even though player 3 has been removed, their cart still moves and plays like it usually does. So this hasn't helped us at all. In fact, it's even more embarrassing because now we're losing to thin air. We decided to try the Mallet Mash gem without player 3, but with the time limit restored just to see if we could do it. This was another couple of hours worth of attempts. I played this minigame so much I hear the sound effects in my sleep. On the successful attempt, I was playing out of my mind. I delayed my strikes for maximum points, and I won with only 1 second remaining. This is when I found out that the code that removes player 3 does not work on the Relic challenges for some reason. Maybe something to do with the fact that the AI's characters are different in the Relic challenges. We definitely need to use a code though. We won't win this otherwise. The AI are far too good. There is yet another code we found online from many years ago that reduces the timer down to just 10 seconds. All we need to do is make sure we're in the lead within the first 10 seconds for each round. This mostly means hoping for the shockwave power-up nearby, standing in between several mushrooms, and delaying the strike to get maximum points from each one. We can even make sure to steal the mushrooms from Coco, which helps us to get ahead of them. With this tactic, we did just about scrape the relics. We do have at least 25 gems now, so this has unlocked Keg Kaboom at last. We removed all the glitches for our first attempt. The idea is to hold down the square button to leave a trail of gunpowder. The flames can ignite it like a fuse, and then we use that flame to blow up the barrels. If our own flame catches up with us, then the flame extinguishes, and we need to light our fuse again. Each barrel starts off only worth a low score, but if we can blow up multiple barrels with a single flame, the points increase with our combo, until all barrels are worth 10 points. Maintaining our combo throughout is key to maximize our score. The silver barrels and the golden barrels are worth 10 and 20 points respectively, regardless of our combo. We need to hope that the AI lose their combos as much as possible, otherwise beating their combined score isn't happening. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what happened. The gem challenge wants us to score 280 points in just 40 seconds. This is actually easier than it sounds. We've gotten pretty good at maintaining the long combos and keeping our fuse as short as possible, so we managed to win this with just 5 seconds left to go without that much difficulty. I wish I could say the same for the crystal challenge. There's a bomb walking around the arena edge. As soon as it gets close to either Cortex or myself, it launches itself towards them. Getting hit by this counts as an instant loss, just like the nitros in Pogo Loco. What's more, the bomb will always walk directly towards Cortex at the start, and we lose in just 2 seconds every time. The only way to prevent this is to run up towards the bomb and aggro it away from Cortex, but we would need to do this for every single bomb for the entire game. A bomb spawns every 5 seconds, and it always runs towards Cortex first. If we hold square to lay down gunpowder, our movement speed is reduced too. So being fast enough to dodge the bomb means we can't score points. We can't push Cortex towards the center of the arena by running into him. The only way to move him is with the shockwave power up, but the first shockwave doesn't spawn until about 15 or 20 seconds in. By then, the AI will have a big lead on us. We finally managed to get a shockwave and hit Cortex with it, only to find out that it knocks him backwards from the direction he's facing, which is closer to where the bomb spawns. We've had to accept that this one isn't happening. There is one more memory manipulation code we haven't tried yet, and it could help us with this crystal. It has an odd side effect of not allowing us to walk downwards while in the warp room, but thankfully exiting the save screen puts us in the center of the warp room, so we can just walk to the side and then up to get into Keg Kaboom. What this code has done to the minigames themselves is only give us a 1 second time limit. The pause menu is also stuck on the screen, but that's just a visual thing. We need to keep failing over and over until the round starts off with both a flame and at least a single barrel next to us. As soon as the round starts, we ignite our fuse, break a single barrel, all in a single second, and we win with 2 points to 0. That was perhaps the strangest crystal we've earned. As for the relics, it's not going to happen without a code. I tried to reduce the timer on this challenge with memory manipulation, but for some reason the timer reset up to 10 minutes after it expired. Also, Coco turns into a windmill. Just crash bash things. But then we found out the original all-in-one code works for Keg Kaboom. It doesn't even force the win immediately, it just auto-kills all 3 other players. We still need to score points to let the timer run out for each round. The only challenge left here is suppressing the guilt of gamarging our own sister for a couple of relics. On the off chance, we tried Swamp Fox Crystal again, and it turns out the all-in-one code also allows us to force the win for player 1 here too. I swear the force win glitch doesn't work on the vast majority of minigames. By dumb luck, it just works on all the ones that we've been stuck on. I've suffered enough, I'm taking this crystal. That leaves one single collectible left in the entire game, the Skyballs gem. None of the codes we've found will help us with this minigame, and this is the only ball game where the all-in-one code cannot force the win for us. Removing player 3 does nothing, and the ball games don't have a timer. Who'd have thought that after all we've been through, the final boss of the run would be the Skyballs gem? I have spent weeks making attempts at this gem challenge. The lowest score I ever managed to get the AI down to was about 5, and even then that was only if I got very lucky. However, I am in a very fortunate position to have a community with some great people in it. One of those people is Canna Dark, and they have some working knowledge on how the memory manipulation works. They provided me a few codes with odd effects, most of which led to the game crashing, but one of them did this. As soon as we enter Skyballs, something seems wrong. Crash and Dingo Dial have swapped places. We still control Crash, but our left and right directions have also been reversed. At first, it doesn't look like this has helped at all, but it's actually helped us a lot. First of all, the reverse controls seem to have confused Dingo Dial, and he gets stuck on the side of his new goal. You might think that this helps us to score points against the AI, but no. Even though we have swapped sides, our goals have not. If Dingo lets balls in, it counts against Cortex and myself. However, if I let balls into the top goal, it counts against the AI. So now we need to play this game in the exact opposite way as intended. We need to let in as many balls as possible. Since both Cortex and Dingo hardly move, it's still far from easy to lower our score faster than they do, but this is our best chance. At first, I found it quite hard to get used to the reverse controls and dodging all the balls, but I got better with practice. We need the RNG to fall our way too. We want the arena to tilt towards me when there are a lot of balls in the center so I can let them all in. I pretty much never need to use the kick now, but Dingo will still use it now and then if a ball rolls close to him. Eventually, after weeks of trying, dozens of memory manipulation codes, the stars aligned and we got the RNG we needed. Did we win? It counts! It counts! We got it! I like that the game still managed to get both Crash and Cortex in shot despite Crash being at the top of the screen. With that gem, we have finally beaten the game with 201%. I think it's time to do a victory lap. I beat Oxide one more time so I can have a long overdue rematch with Cortex. He's had this coming for a long time. I bet he wishes he could move now. I don't even need crates. Crash is going to do this with his bare hands. Revenge has never felt so good. This is for Skyballs, Swamp Fox, Relics, Dot Dash, Pogo Loco, Mallet Mash. Flush Uka Uka down that space toilet, we're done here. Can you beat Crash Bash's co-op mode alone? Yes! If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and all that good stuff, because this video was a test of patience I've never known. If these type of challenge runs on classic PlayStation games are your thing, then you're going to want to stick around, because there's plenty more to come. A big thank you to the people in my live chat who helped me achieve this run and stay sane doing it. And speaking of thanking people, I must thank all of our biggest supporters. They are 3 Nigma, Aaron Con, Adam Gill, Avis, Eiley Chan, Alex Back, Alex Gurney, Alex L, Alex Vale, Alexa Griffith, Alistair Dreamer, Eliza Moon, Ashlew, Ashton Francis, Borga Rami, Big Bully, Bill Waite, Billiam, Black Tweety, Bloodwolf Leon, Blue Michael, Bob Asti, Buki J, Sadira Nagy, Clara B, Kofkos, Corporate Grebo, Crags, Danny Goro, Daniel Abednego, D Bishoped, Deadly Angel, Don't Like, Ian Hoffman, MC Matty G, Emperor Prime, Evolved Pixel, Exo Dying, Figgy, Fister Knightley, Floop, Frank Durr, Frosty Snares, FX, Garg Beatnik, GB John, Gremlock Gaming, Grey's Agenda, Griffey, Guerox, Hannibal La, Havoc, Hitagi Worshipper, Holden B, Jamie Garcia, Jamie C, Jars, JDRM, Gel Hustinks, Gerard Artech Pren, Jin Ramoma, Jonathan, Josh Peterson, Juju Bean, Justin Becker, Caleb Armantrout, Cantador, Carrie, Katie, KG Senpai, Chaos NG, Cuss Ans, Lord Beerus, Lord Aziki, Luke Pickles, Mara Dolman, Mary, Mark Callin, Marsh, Maureen Jansen, Mayday, Melly, Mike Gaunthia, Mitchell Butcher, Mogsy, Moraz, Mr. Tenor, Murrick, Nick CF, No O's, Nola Hagame, Nolfi, Osor Zach, Ottel Owl, PP, Parapinny, Philip Barnhart, Pino Shet's Helicopter Tours, Platinum Azure, Prince of Awful, Pyrie Namey, Rasterboy Game and Stuff, Reaper, Repercussions, Remy Lee Noble, Reptile with Sad Human Eyes, Roger Klotz, Rogley, Rocket Plod, Ronald Lust, Serenity, Shatterfrost, Shoeboot, Sigil Sealed, Sir Rando, Sora Cola, Spectrum Z, Stalking, Stephanie Thompson, Stephen Dodsworth, Subscript, Tanner, The Overachiever, The Razor, The Smiler, The Wes, Thomas Riley, Thunderhawk D, Tiggity Ritz, Tom Servo, Trav Schiefer, Trevor Belmont, TX Dice, Vel, Vivius Vicious, William R. Nadal, Xavier, Yazual Leon, Zach R, Zachary G, Zanmont, Zep Blades, Admiral Lettuce, Cottontail, Cat Legs, Chrome Shack, Sizrenner, Duncan, Dweegi, Thin Pride and Pixels, $40 Mouse, Hakey Jowie, Hamscoffer, Jesus Christ 00AD, John Fitz, Jocks Corn, Cammy, Luna Isle, Mebby and Megidose, Morphmeister, Notarn, Possum Oakwood, Potoma 13, Pumpkin Technics, Rev Jacques, Sealop, Seer of Walls, Smegzilla, Spectrum Z90, Spice Auteur, Static Jokes, Talfime, The Overachiever, The Jammy Emperor, Tor DS, Tauster, True DK0, Username JP, A Lazy Dragon, Aggie, Anthony Kermack, Apollo, Bob, Bubba Sticks, Intervencion, Melfi, NB Prod, Thomas Bickley, Tor, and Wesley Austin. The list only grows. At what point do I stop reading the names? I can't say I was expecting my first and only Crash Bandicoot challenge run to date to be on Crash Bash, but when you've had an idea this insane, you kinda gotta run with it. If I ever do any Crash Bandicoot challenge runs in the future, maybe I'll come back to the end of this video and link one on screen now. But in the meantime, how about you check out our Spyro the Dragon challenge runs instead? There's loads of those. Wonder if I can get some friends around for 4-player Crash Bash. I've never done that before.